What's up everybody, it's Mike from HighsideMoto.com. I recently rode the Alta Reshift SM for Supermoto at Adams Motorsports Park in Riverside. And I gotta say, the bike is amazing, but one major flaw really kept me from enjoying the bike to its fullest. This is a Highside Moto bike review. So what better place to test the Reshift SM than out on a Supermoto track? Adams provided the perfect environment to test the bike's capabilities, as well as find some of its limitations. If you aren't familiar with the Reshift SM, it is advertised as a commuter and an urban bike. It puts out about 40 horsepower and it has about a 50-mile range. And that's a 50-mile range in a mix of city and highway riding. And it comes in at a very steep $15,500. So what do you get for $15,500? Well, you get an extremely well-engineered bike and it feels really solid on the track. Alta boasts the lithium-ion battery pack is one of the most energy-dense power units in the market. And obviously when it comes to supermotos, more power and less weight is a good thing. The bike's styling is simplistic and instantly recognizable as a supermoto. However, for an electric supermoto, I really do wish they would have pushed the envelope a bit more styling-wise. Maybe a more modern headlight unit and ditching or redesigning the false radiator guards. But really, those are just nitpicks. What really matters is the riding performance. On the track, the bike feels flickable despite its relatively hefty 283 pounds. 4 ride modes allow you to ramp up the power on the fly, with of course mode 4 being the best for the track. Riding the Alta is instantly familiar and that's a really good thing. There isn't much of a learning curve here. Just forget about shifting and everything else is a standard affair. One thing that did catch me by surprise was the bike's amazing torque. Once you adapt to it, is by far the most addicting aspect of this bike. Squaring off corners and to pass slower riders is even easier given the bike's ability to take off at any RPM. Adams is a tight track, so there are plenty of opportunities to play with different cornering styles, and the Reshift SM handled them beautifully. Another really fun aspect of the bike is its simple lack of noise. Being able to hear the tires working combined with the traditional bar and ass feel, it really gave me an entirely new level of grip feedback. Where on other bikes it takes me a while to get comfortable, on the Reshift SM I was able to push my personal limits much quicker due to all that traction feedback I was receiving. It really was night and day when switching between the DRZs and the Alta. However, after only 5 laps, the biggest issue with the Reshift SM became blatantly obvious: battery pack overheating. At first I thought I was simply getting used to the bike's torque and thus I didn't feel as aggressive coming out the corners. Unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case. The bike was limiting power and I simply wasn't able to jump out of the corners like I was before. I didn't notice it during my time on the track, but the bike's dash does have a little yellow light, and that light flashes when the battery is starting to overheat. The light turns a solid yellow at some critical cell temperature, and then available power is reduced. This is a really smart thing to do to protect the overall battery life, but it's not really something that any track rider is ever going to want to see. The Reshift SM has a water-cooled motor and inverter, and the inverter is only used during charging, but apparently the battery pack itself is air-cooled. It's kind of a design flaw if you ask me. I had an absolute blast riding the Reshift SM around Adams. I love the bike for its torque, the amount of grip feedback, and its performance with level 4 ride mode selected. But having performance limiting overheating issues after only 5 laps is really awful, and it kind of put a damper on my remaining track time. Once I experienced the available power during the first few laps, I came to expect that level of performance. While I can't recommend the Reshift SM for track use, if you were using this bike for commuting in the city or any kind of urban environment, then you may not see the overheating issue at all. Overall, the bike is painfully close to being perfect. Cut down the price a bit and add active cooling to the battery pack and maybe a bit more range, and I really do think the Reshift SM could hit the sweet spot. I could definitely see myself switching out my VFR for a Reshift SM to handle my commuting duties, if only it wasn't so pricey.